Everybody, we are back. It is Taped Online, Favorite Raiders podcast, Favorite Raiders channel, Favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at @TheMarkJohn NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glen. And of course, Panda Subs, discount code TDL for 35% off. All right, so here we're talking some combine guys. Of course, I was there, and I'm here to give you guys an update, and we talk about some things, and I brought Glenn with me. He wasn't there, but Glenn does follow Twitter, so I'm sure he has some news too that he's seen. So so we're here, guys. We're out here talking about the combine. It was kind of dead. I'm not gonna lie to you, Glenn. It was kind of dead out there. And it was interesting. I don't know what's happened to the combine. Maybe it's the guys asking the moon landing questions is getting people turned off. I don't know, but it was dead. So it was just weird, man. It was weird out there. It was kind of weird experience this time. I'm not gonna lie.
How weird is it that these guys are getting asked those questions? And not even now. This is the Aaron Rodgers-fication of the NFL, where they need to chase these type of characters because they know that's what creates clicks during a slow month. Is whatever zany, weird, woo-woo thing these guys can come up with. I will say, was that guy's name Tyler Owens? Was that his name? The free safety, the Texas Tech safety, the one that was saying the space is fake thing like that. He did a 12-2 broad jump. Would you believe in gravity if you did a 12-2 broad jump? No, I don't think you would.
Did he really? He did a 12-2 broad jump?
I believe that's what I had the Eisen was talking about it, and they were like making their little jokes, space and this and that. 12-2.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't believe in space. He doesn't believe in time, gravity. Just wow.
Would you? I'm just saying, like, would you if you were like moving at that? You're like, I'm different than everybody else. Like, it's real for you guys. It's not real for me.
Hey. That's very true, man. You broad jump a 12-2. Is that a record? That has to be.
Yeah, that's Neil Armstrong. That's like Neil Armstrong jumping, like with the moon landing footage.
It's man. A ridiculous broad jump. I mean, this is the combine was crazy athleticism. Even the linemen, man, the linemen are all athletic. Mims or whatever that freak dude. I don't know what he is. He's building a lab. The dude had a faster 3-cone than Joe Mixon, and he's 340 pounds. But he can't get the field though. So he's gonna be an interesting guy. I want to see where he goes because that dude, he's literally played like 8 games in college.
Yeah. So Tyler Owens, I just say he was 12. So yeah, he was 1 inch behind the record, and that was Byron Jones, who had the record. So yeah, Tyler Owens, crazy. 12-2. I had to confirm it. 12.
That's why I don't believe in space.
I'm just saying, I would have a different. He doesn't see the world the way we see the world because I can't jump when I play pickup basketball. Like my Achilles can. I'm different. So yeah, exactly.
And I saw this one. Yes, I was there when I asked. I tell you, the questions weren't that bad this year. It was just mostly that the moon landing guy, that guy, because he would set it up well too. He would actually ask a football question first,
right?
And then he would come back and then ask you if he would set him up, right? And I don't know where he was from. I have no idea what publication, but he's definitely not coming back. That place is wherever he's at. It's definitely not getting a clearance next year. That's for damn sure.
Well, I had to ask you. I saw Chris Ballard was on the broadcast, the GM of the Colts, and he was on the broadcast. Obviously, it was a local event for him, and he said it was a fast track this year. Is that true? Like fast track, slow track? Like he's saying this year that it just seems like some teams' times weren't matching what was on there. Was that him saying that the official time is a little bit weird, kind of tongue in cheek a little bit? I've always wondered. It's in the same place every year. How's it?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I don't know what to talk about. I think guys just practice for it more. Guys are prepared. They're ready to go. They've been practicing that 40. They've been practicing that vertical leap. They've been practicing all those things to get ready for it. It's more of a an event. I mean, what's that dude? Matt Mamula from way back. He was the first guy to actually practice for the combine, and he got drafted top 10 and ended up being a bust because he ran like a 4.4. He did all these kids like a crazy combine. Right. And he's like the first guy to train for it. And yeah, that's what happens, man. A lot of these guys train. That's why I always look at it weird when somebody like Spencer Rattler had a bad week. He didn't have a bad week, but he had a bad workout.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, what were you doing for the past 2 months? You know what I mean? That's kind of my thing with it. So I don't know, man. But today we're gonna talk, of course, talk about the combine and a lot of those things. And one of the main things is trading up. That's a big thing that came out of the combine, trying to figure out what we're gonna do with that. And it doesn't look too great at this point. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's not really that great. Because the Patriots, they left the combine deciding that they might want a quarterback. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that goes. But this is something we're gonna talk about, guys. We talk about the trade up. Of course, we talk about combine standouts, who the Raiders like, who what do we like there? Jacobs franchise tag, because Jacobs is he's still there. I mean, he hasn't been signed yet, and we got to figure out how that's gonna go. And that's gonna be the big thing. When's the franchise tag? I think it's this week, right? You got to make it. Yeah, this week, right? And then talk about some free agents, and whatever questions you guys got, I'm saving them. So if you're asking questions right now, keep asking them. I'm gonna save them, and we'll get to them in a second. So first things first. I mean, we'll get into it because it's really, I mean, like I said, the combine was super boring. There wasn't really a lot of buzz coming out. Like everything that Jeremy Fowler said in his article, I heard. So that tells you that it wasn't really that special of a week. Everything that was in that ESPN article, I heard myself. So it wasn't like.
I think the fans want to know what's like the turn up situation look like after. What is the nightlife of combine? Is it as crazy as we hear on the podcasts? Like the kind of like, hey, don't talk about it, but let them know it's crazy, kind of,
Prime 47 is wild. I'll tell you that. So there's two places you can go. There's a place called High Velocity that's by the JW Marriott, where all the writers and the big money GMs and Jerry Jones, those type of dudes, they stay there at the JW Marriott. All right. And there's a place called High Velocity. That's kind of like where everything starts. So the night 9 o'clock, everybody goes there, start drinking. It is a big sword fest. Just like there's like literally one woman for every 30 guys.
Yeah.
One woman for every 30 guys, and there's always 3 guys surrounding that one woman. So so if you're trying to go there to try to get some with it, I mean, you gotta pick your spots, because you gotta actually kind of get in there because she's already surrounded. But so High Velocity, right, is the main spot you go to, okay? And then the other main spot, which is just some other fancy dinner spots that I don't go to, right? Some of those other, like, Mina Kimes to go eat dinner there or whatever.
Right.
But so the other spot is Prime 47. Now it's funny because like Saturday, Friday night was my last night there. Matt went to High Velocity with me, and he went home early, and I was just walking home, and I was just like, you know what? I passed Prime 47, and I haven't been in there before myself, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go in here.
Gotta go
and just see what happens. So I get in there. The first thing that happens, so Mike McDaniel almost spills a drink on me. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but whatever. I mean, this is
club soda. He almost
redacted coach.
Yeah,
who might coach for the Dolphins.
Yeah, a certain guy in the AFC East spilled some water on you.
Spilled water on me.
Right.
Yeah. Spilled some water. Right. So that was what he did. And that was my first experience. Like, oh wow, so this is where we're in here. And it was like Steve Smith was to the right of me, and there's a whole bunch of people in there. And then I some old men get me drunk, man. And then I really don't remember a lot of that night. So that's kind of how those places go. If you go to tell how that partying goes at Prime 47, I don't know. I was talking to some girl, and then it just blacked out. So it was just, that's how it was. There, Prime 47 was nuts. I mean, it was packed. It was like a club, man. And it's a steakhouse. And it's just like everybody's in there drinking, talking, and that's where all the sources come from.
Because I always picture it's like Eyes Wide Shut or something, like where it's like the super secret like masquerade party where it's like, degenerate stuff. But I guess not. I guess it's just a regular old steakhouse party.
Yeah. I mean, there could be some. I'm telling you, there could be some things going on there.
Yeah, you were in tier. You weren't in security level 5. You were in like security level 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. I was at the bar. There's some things going around.
Go to the bartender and say Tango Alpha, and then he'll give you a ticket to this next one. Yeah, no, I know.
Secret handshake. You know what I mean? Get to the upstairs part of it. Yeah.
Next year, you're gonna go that far. Yeah.
Exactly. But but that's where it goes down. That's where the talking goes, and the what you're gonna do, who's gonna do this, and that's where the sources are. Is this year? The GMs and the coaches, a lot of them just didn't come. A lot of them just weren't here, and I thought that was super interesting. So it feels like Tom Telesco was talking about the combine, and Yeah, I guess he made the point to Vinny is that he has Vinny. I can't even say his last name, so I'm just gonna say Vinny. He asked him like why was he staying for the combine? Just watch the film. So that's kind of how I think a lot of these teams are taking it. Like the combine really isn't that like I don't know. I guess not telling for them or something, and the scouts can handle it because the scouts stay. They all stay. They got to stay. They can't. They got to do their jobs. That's their job. They might get fired in May if they don't do it. So they got to they got to stay in there. But it just that was probably the most interesting part of the weekend there. But yeah, yeah, that's where it goes down. Prime 47, 3 o'clock at night, 2 o'clock at night, man. It goes down.
Wow.
That's where it goes down, guys.
Nice.
I don't know if I tell you, man. They were feeding me drinks, man. I don't know. It was crazy. I'll tell you. I got some like financial guys thing. It was just crazy. It was wild in there. Big money was in there.
Wow.
But yeah. But most of it is the film guys who think they're super cool. You know what I'm saying. I'm talking about the film guys.
Oh yeah.
So you just
sure.
I don't know 40,000. Those dudes are like
wow.
and they're like 25 and stuff like that. So it's interesting how young those guys are. But yeah, I mean, it is dope experience though, because I mean, seeing the players in person and hearing them talk, you can actually get their personalities a little bit and see, who you like, who you don't like, and kind of from those interviews. To me, to be honest, I think those press conferences are pretty big deals too, because it's like the first time you get to hear these guys just speak off the cup. So yeah, and dealing with stupid questions and it's like Caleb Williams. His press conference is interesting. Yeah, that dude's. He believes in himself. That's all I gotta say.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
I mean, which is not a bad thing, It's just he just says, what did he say? He said, like, I change things. I usually when I come places, things change. Like he was talking about, he's gonna be the greatest Bears quarterback of all time. Basically, that's basically what he was trying to say.
Except for USC, you didn't win anything there when he got there, but that's okay. It's just another thing. Yeah. Oklahoma didn't win a national title with him there either, but no. All right. Now the Bears, he could go there and change it. I will say my question with Caleb Williams, it's nothing on the field. It's nothing that he does. I don't even mind his attitude, but what I'm wondering is like, if the Bears go 6-11 next year with him as a starter, is he blaming people? Is he doing eyeball emojis and hourglass emojis on Twitter? Like, hey, don't waste my career. You're doing a disservice to me. Like, can he take lumps? Because not everybody's gonna have a CJ Stroud rookie year. Wins, even if you perform as well as him, you might not win the games that they won. And that's what I'm wondering with him. That's the one thing.
See, if he joins the Bears, I don't think they should go 6-11. 6-11, I'd
right.
Like,
but injury, offensive line injury, it just something could happen. Something could happen.
Yeah. But because they got Montez Sweat over there, they got a pretty good defense. They're probably going to keep Jalen Johnson. He has DJ Moore already, so he has a number one receiver already locked in. That even if you could throw screens to him, I mean, if he went to the Bears, and I'm pretty sure they're going to take him because they're trying to trade Justin Fields. But nobody wants Justin Fields, which I think is funny.
That's strange. So that the deal for Atlanta's not the way people are saying it. It's not in place.
But to be honest, like nobody wants him. Nobody wants Justin.
Damn.
I mean, because you got to think about it. The combine. Everybody left the combine. There was no big trade deal with him because nobody really wants him like that, or nobody wants to give up what the Bears want from him.
The second round pick is a bit rich, is what we're hearing, basically.
Yeah. It's I think the third round pick maybe depends on where I was picking, but I always said that he's a fourth. I'd give a fourth for him.
I'd do a conditional third, like a third that could become something else or something if he starts X amount of games for me or whatever. Or on wins or something, whatever the conditions are. I would do something like that. I don't think the Raiders should because I don't understand pairing him with Getsy again. That wouldn't make not whether they liked each other or not. I'd like to see them operate separately from each other just to see.
Yeah. And I think that's connection to the Raiders is just speculation. I think people are just throwing teams out there because I really think there's no serious interest because the word out of even before I saw this say that Jermaine Fowler article, I really heard everything at high velocity one night. It was Kirk Cousins is their guy. They're going after Kirk Cousins.
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta wants Kirk Cousins bad. That's their goal. So the Vikings have a problem. So that's why it's going to be hard to jump over the Vikings if the Raiders get a quarterback, because they might lose Kirk Cousins, especially if the Falcons bring the bag, because that's what Kirk Cousins really wants. He wants the bag, and if the Falcons come out with the bag, he's going to Atlanta.
And they should. And I think the Falcons should. Then you have, if you're the Falcons, you have the 8th overall pick. You're not really, a quarterback is not really going to fall to you of the top 3. So then you are essentially saying, well, I'm going to get Kirk Cousins. They have young talent everywhere on offense. It's all over the place. And then you bring in Zach Robinson. I like the Cousins and Robinson kind of mash up there. And then you use the 8th overall for like best player available. They can go out there, they can go get like a Fuaga or something like that, or just anything. Jared Verse, could be anything that they want to do at 8. I think that's smart, and I would go for Cousins over Fields at this point. I would, and I think most teams would.
Yeah, and that's why the Falcons are ready to bring the bag, because he's a great fit for the Falcons too, and It all plays into the Raiders trading up, which is our first topic. First topic, guys. We're talking about the Raiders trading up. All right, so we're talking about the Raiders trading up 2-3. Okay. Now, what is the issue with the Raiders trade up to 3 right now? The real issue is that the word out of the combine is the Patriots fell in love with the quarterbacks. All right. So the Patriots fell in love with the quarterbacks. The Commanders had some offers, but they're like, I mean, no, we want a quarterback too.
Cliff Kingsbury hire kind of really, yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to be difficult for the Raiders to trade up, right? And, it's going to be into, do they like J.J. McCarthy, right? Or do they wait for Michael Penix maybe in the second round? Because even though he had a great combine, to the point what I was saying, like Tom Telesco and those guys just leaving, they don't care if you throw well at the combine. They don't give a fuck. So, like, if you whip it at they don't care. Let's keep it real. They are, like, a lot of these guys, especially the quarterbacks, a lot of these guys, they kind of slated where they're going to go. He has a little bit of a medical history, even though he did clear his medicals at the combine, which is great for him. But I don't know if he's going to work his way into the first round still. I think there's still some iffy things with him that people don't like. The NFL might be a little bit lower on him than fans are. So, so that's where the Raiders are at. I mean, they probably could get him. I don't know if they can get him directly at 44. They might have to trade up in the second round and get him like early on, because I feel like he'll be a guy like, he'll probably just mess up and he'll go to the draft or something, and they'll make him feel bad, and somebody trade up and get him like a 36. So the Raiders might have to trade up and get him later on, but that's where the Raiders have to decide with that. But so what are some of your thoughts on that?
It's the 3. So I actually think the Raiders can, because they can do it. Now, does anyone want to trade out of 3? That's always been my thing. I don't think any of those teams really are going to trade out. I saw some rumors about Baker Mayfield to the Patriots. I don't know that I see that. I don't know that Gerard Mayo is hitching his wagon to Baker Mayfield in this first year.
I'll talk about that when you're on the back end, but go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So let's just say that they do. Let's say that 3, that they're like, nah, veteran route. We're going to build up. We got a good defense right now. We could use a bunch of picks to kind of get some skill players, build the wide receiver core. Let's say that. The Raiders come calling. I think the Raiders, a lot of teams, when you already have your quarterback or you have somebody else as your quarterback, you're down to fall down to whatever position gets you the most picks. And from 13 to 3, that's a lot of picks. That's more picks than 8 to 3. That's more picks than 6 to 3 from the New York Giants. Like, so for a lot of teams, they'll trade down out of the top 10 if they have their quarterback or have an idea of who their quarterback is. In this situation, the Patriots would be saying, my quarterback is Baker Mayfield, Justin Fields, whoever. If that's the case, the Raiders have enough. I would not give up any players that any team actually wants. That's what I'm scared of for a lot of fans. I not that I think the team's going to want to do this, but like I saw people putting like Colton Miller in trade packages.
I actually see why I responded to that on Twitter, because that's not the first time I saw that.
No, it's a thing. DJ Moore, after the DJ Moore trade last year, that's a thing. Yeah.
Do people not know what a franchise left tackle is? There's franchise quarterbacks, franchise left tackles, and that's the franchise positions. What the?
No, it doesn't make any sense. And my thing is you are trading up. The Raiders are different. They're not trying to start over right now. They think they're a quarterback away. I think a lot of us think that they're a quarterback away from being perpetually good, being just good and contending, maybe a few moves here and there around the quarterback gets you into the playoffs to compete, and then your quarterback that you traded up for is supposed to elevate that team. I understand the process, and I agree. If you trade Colton Miller, you are no longer a quarterback away for whoever you trade up for. Like it's different. Even the Panthers last year, they gave up way too much. It was for the wrong guy, right? Like that's what we realized. It was for the wrong guy. If they gave up all that, even including DJ Moore, you're saying that DJ Moore is not going to be here by the time we're really good, so we're trading him now, saving the picks. For the Raiders, I don't get the picks out of here. Give up as much picks as you're going to give up. Just keep your roster intact if you're going to do that. That being said, I am still team best player available at 13. There's really no position group that you could talk me out of. None of them, to be honest. I've been wary about first round corner, but other than that, even if it's a receiver, I'm not going to be mad. Do that and then use pick 44 to get somebody into the building to develop. Use pick 44, trade back up into the first round, get the fifth year option with a Knicks. I'm not saying these are any of my guys, but I would understand the process. Who knows how high Milton goes? Any of those, that's kind of the route I want to do right now. I'm scared of trading up for the third best anything right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm just a little scared. And who knows if that's third best, because in 2021, that third best guy was Trey Lance. So if the Raiders do that, and let's not pretend that that's not something this franchise is wired to do. So I'm just kind of like, I'm a little hesitant. Now, I understand fans that want to do it, but I think they think it's a absolute guarantee that we get a smash hit at quarterback. And I don't think that's true.
Because, all right, so I want to talk about a couple of things. So the word out of the combine is that Alex Van Pelt wants any Browns quarterback. He just wants a Browns guy. So it's Jacoby Brissett or Baker Mayfield, basically. There's somebody else I forget that was a Browns quarterback under them, but I can't think of right now. But it's those two, right, for the Patriots, because he's the office coordinator. Then Elliott Wolf's the GM who drafted Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of ties to that. So if the Patriots sign Baker Mayfield, though, that's when this kind of changes a little bit, because that's what you're talking about, where they'll kind of feel flexible to trade out of 3. But the other flip side of that too is that you could just draft Marvin Harrison Jr. for Baker Mayfield and just start rolling on offense. When you already have a great defense basically set up for you, and you could just draft Marvin Harrison Jr. who decided not to show up at the combine. He came for interviews and left, which I thought was the ultimate flex, but he deserves it. But that's my thing, is he is a wild card too in all of this. MHJ, I think that, because people sleep on these teams adding quarterbacks and then thinking, hey, maybe I can just go get this crazy freak wide receiver and, just keep it going. And I think that's going to be the element. So if Baker Mayfield goes there, because if it's Jacoby Brissett or somebody else, they could still take a quarterback. But if it's Baker Mayfield, then I think everything changes. Now, if the Raiders do trade up to 3 and they give up all that stuff, the Raiders, I think we talked about this before, they have to be kind of content with taking Drake May or Jaden Daniels, right?
Yeah.
They have to like both of them. Now, I think they like Drake May more than they say, because his answer to whether he met with the Raiders was they had film ready for him, which I thought that was interesting. You already had cut-ups ready for Drake May. Did they do that with everybody? That was what I wanted to know. But I thought that was interesting that he brought that up, how they had film ready and had him going over why he did this on these plays and why he did this on that play. So maybe they have some kind of plan. If they get to 3, they're like, hey, maybe we don't get Daniels. We take him, and they did some more homework on him to kind of build that up. So that was interesting too. I thought his answer was interesting to that, because they just don't do that much at the combine. They might send you something before it and then have you come draw it, but they don't go over film and have a cut up ready. All right, so here's a cut up of your shitty plays. So why'd you do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, and it's easy to think that perhaps this isn't the exact line of thinking, and maybe it's lazy to think this way, but Justin Herbert, Drake May. I understand how Tom Telesco can think like, hey, here's another Herbert. I could already year one bring into this building. I'm the guy who drafted this guy. I don't know that they're the same. I don't know that he's Justin Herbert, but I get it when you watch some of his best throws. But that's my thing is you're trading up to 3. Do you know who Washington's taking? I don't think we know that who Washington's taking. And if they do with Cliff Kingsbury, they might be taking Jaden Daniels. So some people think I'm passing on Jaden Daniels, or you make a Trey Lance comparison to Jaden Daniels. It might not be Jaden Daniels that the Raiders trade up for if you do it now. This could work out a number of ways. That's why I'm just a little hesitant on the whole thing, getting up there. Perhaps the Patriots might want to move back. It's what they do as a franchise all the time. But I'm just a little like, do I want to be the guy to do that? To go up and pony up everything for somebody who's not number one?
I don't know. You have to be content with that. They have to be decided to whether they want to be Drake May or not, or Jaden Daniels. So that's gonna be the most interesting part of that. They gotta figure that out. But there's if they go to other quarterbacks though, they try to decide they want to go like JJ McCarthy, because they met with everybody. They met with Spencer Rattler. So it wasn't just like, hey, we're just meeting with the top guys. They met with a bunch of quarterbacks. I didn't get whether they met with Michael Pratt or anything like that, but they met with Spencer Rattler. Mm-hmm. So they obviously are doing their homework on all the quarterbacks and trying to figure out which guys they want to bring in here, and which guys they want to make it happen with, and do those type of things. But it's going to be interesting, man. Because the Raiders have to figure out what they want to do, because if they just stay at 13, they can grab a great offensive lineman.
Yeah, look at those tackle numbers. All Fashanu, and Fuaga, all 3 of those guys. You had those in silver and black at 13. If that any combination of those guys, I call it a win. There would be fans that would freak out after not, being at 13 and still having Aiden O'Connell as like the quarterback on the roster, provided they don't go a veteran beforehand. I would be okay with that. I think there's like generational tackles in this draft.
Yeah, this offensive line draft is crazy. So, a dude like Mims. I saw somebody talking about Mims. Man, he is a monster. So it's gonna be up to them. They're gonna have to decide what they want to do, but they have to get to 3 if they want one of those guys, right? If I don't know where JJ is gonna go, that's the thing, because they gotta beat the Giants, because the Giants are rumored to be taking a quarterback. So you got to get over the Giants too. So if the Giants want JJ McCarthy, they could easily just trade up to 4 from 6. It's way easier for them to trade up to 4 from 6. So the Raiders have to decide how they are going to hop those guys. And that's
but you get more. You get more for the team that's hopping up from 13. So, like, I will say, like, the Giants don't have to give up as much to go. But if the Raiders are making an offer for more picks to move up, that other team might pass over the Giants.
Yeah.
Like again, because you're thinking I can go down to 13 and still get a tackle, whatever I need instead of a quarterback. I think they can do it if they want to. And provided that there is a team willing to trade out of there. Those are the 2 things I don't see right now. They clearly want quarterbacks. Like you said, they're meeting with them. They want one. I think they still might do something with pick 44, whether that's moving up back into the first round to go find somebody. I'm getting close to saying they're going to make 2 picks in the first round as my prediction. I do think they're going to end up picking twice in the first round. One in which being a quarterback that they can have for 5 years. As is the benefit of that, but it might not be the sexy name. I think guys are going to rise because there's a premium on quarterbacks, with this year's class being as stacked as it sounds and next year's class being not. I think they're going to fly off the board.
Yeah, because that guy could be Bo Nix too, man. I thought he had his interview was pretty good, but he was at the press conference. I thought he had a good press conference. He just sounded, he sounded like a quarterback, and. I think that he probably is pretty impressive in meetings when if he has a demeanor. So it could be him too. They could trade. It's the Penix, McCarthy. No, McCarthy's going top 10. And he might.
Oh
not.
Yeah, I think he will.
Feeling that it's just.
I think he will.
They've been convinced people love the kid. They love him. Because so when if you get to the back end, you can get Penix or if you can get Knicks, I mean, it all depends on how they feel about him and how they feel they can beat him, build him up. It's just with those guys, I just don't know how much they can beat out Aiden O'Connell. That's what my thing is. Do they beat out Aiden, or does Aiden keep playing? And then we're like,
But that's a good problem to have. You don't think that's a good problem to have?
It's not a good. It is a good problem to have, but
Okay.
it's, I don't know. It can become like a wasted draft pick. But that's how they feel. I mean, if they feel they can do that, then they got to make that happen. But it's gonna be hard for them to move up to 3. It is, but they got to get it done now. I mean, I was talking about waiting to the draft. I mean, no, it ain't gonna work like that no more.
That's the problem. Is all the stuff you got to give up for the uncertainty because you just don't know what's going to happen within the next month or so. With as far as who's taking who, but they want you to pony up all this stuff now. And I know fans are going, get it, just get a new quarterback. Like, please, I just want a new quarterback. Please, somebody dynamic. And I understand it. I want one too. After the Bryce Young thing last year, it's just none of these guys are sure things. Like there's for every good trade up you see, there's a bad one, if not a couple. And like I said, I'd feel much safer doing it for like a Penix. I'm not a big fan of Penix, but I would understand the Raiders falling in love with him and using pick 44 to move around wherever they need to do to get a Penix, Knicks, Rattler. I don't know where these guys are going to go, but I wouldn't mind that day 2 pick being used. And then at 13, like you could come into a generational tackle and that quarterback. The generational tackle helps O'Connell this year. If that's what ends up happening, if O'Connell gets a fire lit under him and takes the starting job, then you have 2 bookend tackles and somebody who can maul in the run game. Like that's a good situation to be in.
Yeah, I agree, man. But because the running back class is damn stacked too, man.
Right.
It's just such a good draft class because it's one of the better draft classes recently. Yeah, it is on offense. On offense, I mean, defense is pretty good, but it's not like the offensive side of the ball. The offense is crazy. Wide receiver, running back. The only weak part is tight end. So it's wide receiver, running back, quarterback, offensive line. It's just if you need to rebuild your offense, which the Raiders need to do,
right?
This is the draft. So yeah, so that's my thing. But there is the possibility of them trading up, and they need to explore it if they need to get a quarterback. But if they do their homework and they can figure out where Michael Penix and Bo Nix and those JJ McCarthy are going, then they can finagle those other things, because we don't know. Maybe if the Falcons sign Kirk Cousins, right, and then like I said, and the Patriots sign Baker Mayfield, and then let's say the Giants trade up or something, and
trade for Justin Fields, and have a Daniel Jones Justin Fields quarterback controversy.
That'd be funny. But those type of things are out there. So free agency is going to tell us a lot. I think we're going to get through free agency a little bit before we see some crazy changes here.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Sorry. So let me get some of these questions. Before I get there. So Tyree beat somebody up?
Was it a guard?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'll wait. I see a lot of. I don't want to even think about that till I see the Schefter report. So
yeah, I gotcha. We drafted Milton. Any possibility? I don't know. I mean, probably like later on in the rounds. I still think Milton's not gonna. He doesn't have the same love that some of these other big arm quarterbacks get. But he was talking about he talked about how smart he was, like his whole press conference. So I don't know. He must be insecure about his intelligence. Somebody must have said something, because that's all he talked about. I was like, I get it, bro. You're smart. Could the Raiders explore a trade for Hendon Hooker? No.
I mean, not. I'm sure they could. But why? That's I don't know. I don't know. You could always trade for Hendon Hooker if you offer enough things. I'm sure the Detroit Lions go, yeah, all right. But what, do you want him?
Yeah, I mean, has he played? He hasn't played a game
No,
yet.
he was not. He was not. I think I know he was coming off an injury and stuff, but I thought when Goff got hurt, he wasn't even the starter. Like Goff, because I thought Goff missed a game. I thought somebody else started. I can't remember who, but
no, Goff didn't miss a game. But
no, he didn't. Okay, so no, maybe, but I don't think he was 2 on their depth chart. I could be wrong, but again, you can have him, but they're gonna say, "Do you give me a 4th round pick?" And to that, I say no.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think so. I don't think Justin Jefferson gets traded. That'd be crazy. That'd be stupid.
No, they're not going to
Maybe.
get rid of both. Kirk could leave, but they would want. I mean, if what you're doing by not paying Kirk Cousins is getting cheaper at the position, pretty much no matter who you bring in, and then you then can pay that money to Justin Jefferson, and then whoever you bring in has Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, who's still cheap, and T.J. Hawkinson.
Why are people sleeping on Penix? He's a left-handed Deshaun Watson.
What?
I mean, we don't need another pass rusher. We got Malcolm Kuntz, guys. We got Malcolm Kuntz. I mean, why do people sleep on Malcolm? You guys are still sleeping. I see a lot of people. I saw somebody say that the Raiders need a pass rusher the other day, and I was like, bro, all right, keep sleeping.
I want them to get a veteran pass rusher, like kind of like a later career like guy that can play on third downs. Like I would that to me I would but they don't need the. I think they could roll into the season with Kuntz and Crosby, absolutely, and we all expect them to.
I think with Penix, is not very accurate consistently. And you saw that in the Michigan game. Like he had that one miss or that one play on fourth down where they had a touchdown that would change the whole game. Those things show up on tape a lot, and I think that's one of his biggest issues. You saw it at the Senior Bowl, him not being able to connect with every pass that he had. Missed a lot of short passes. So I think that's kind of his biggest issue, in my opinion. That's why I think the NFL is a little bit lower on him. But he's a popular player, so a lot of people are gonna really like what they do with him. But I'm not sure about that. That's why I feel like he's a second round guy. I wouldn't mind him in the second round. It's just I know that I don't know if he's ever going to be like a 70 completion percentage type of guy, but we'll see. I could be wrong,
And I just don't see him as a mobile quarterback. When comparing him to Deshaun Watson, you're talking about a guy who can. I mean, we all remember the famous Arden Key shoe in the face kind of like weird play. Like I don't think Penix has that at all. And then let's hope he's not Deshaun Watson for other reasons. But yeah, I see where your mind's going with that, but like, come on, Penix to me is not. He's a pocket guy. Like he's going to play from the pocket. You're not drafting him to be Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, man. You're not drafting him for that. He can move though. I think he can move. I don't know why you guys say this. Like he Penix. Like how do you get JJ McCarthy might drop that far?
Will Levis last year. It always happens. Somebody always falls. Yeah,
They could drop that far, okay? And I'm just saying, like, he doesn't have a lot of first round buzz. There's no mocks with him in the first round. There's nothing like that. Maybe that changes after the combine, maybe, but I don't know how the NFL feels about him that much. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. We'll see with that. All right, so what we talking about? Talk about some Josh. Oh no, we're talking about combine standouts. Let's get some combine standouts. Mine, I mean, of course, I think most of the combine standouts were on defense, in my opinion. I thought Brandon Fisk is a guy who's an option in the second round. I don't know if he might have played himself into the late first round, but defense tackles are not a premium. And there's so many offensive guys who they're just going to go like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're going to be turning out. There's going to be tackles. There's going to be run on tackles. And somebody like Fisk is somebody that you might be able to get in the second round. I thought he had a great combine. Who else? I'm trying to think of some other guys. Terrion Arnold is impressive. That dude is just an impressive guy. He compared playing corner to roofing, which I thought was an interesting analogy. That was definitely somebody that knows how to speak. Let's say that, because that was analogy.
He was an alpha, man. Like, 'cause he was getting interviewed on the sideline, and he was just like he did this thing to his mom on the sideline. He was like talking to the NFL Network sideline lady and he was like, "Mom, if you're watching, you raised a beast. Like I'm a beast, like that." And I was just like, man, like corners have to think that way, or else they're not good. So I do like him. I'm a little scared of corner first round, famously, but I do like him.
Yeah, I mean, he did run a 4.5. I saw that, so it is a little bit concerning. I mean, I wouldn't say he's a top 10 corner at this point in time, but I mean, he has that mentality. Like the Raiders are gonna like him. So I'll tell you guys that right now, because even his answer about playing slots and how he basically plays it like as a linebacker, and I think he played a little bit of linebacker in high school. Yeah, dude, he's they're gonna like him, bro. That attitude. So I mean, he might be an option at 13. If the Raiders don't go quarterback, he had a good week. I saw Peyton Peyton Wilson had a great week. That dude from NC State. He is a fast guy, but he's a great linebacker on film. He had a good Senior Bowl. Probably the best linebacker in this draft. I mean, Jeremiah Trotter is the guy that probably is a little bit underlooked, and he has some pass rush things he could do. But Wilson really set it off. Of course, the wide receivers went crazy with Worthy and
Mitchell too, man, from Texas.
Mitchell,
the other
yeah.
Texas. I thought Mitchell was more impressive doing it at 205 pounds, going 4.34. Xavier Worthy, well, I don't remember how much Xavier Worthy weighs, but it's less, right?
164.
Yeah, so I mean, that's fast. Don't get me wrong, but I am actually a bit more intrigued by the Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell guys who are bigger, running in the 4.3s. And I think Brian Thomas went like 4.29 or something. Didn't he? He went crazy, like at 205 or something. He went like low 4.3s or high 4.2s. I can't remember.
Yeah, he's a first round receiver too, Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
So Thomas, Dunze, I mean, Worthy probably might go in the first round, even though sometimes with those small guys, speed guys, they always don't work out the most. But I mean, he's a pretty good route runner.
He is, but that like small like Dree Archer kind of thing, like I always get a little. I know he was a running back, but some of those small guys that run really fast, I'm like, I know the league's different nowadays. I get more excited. Like I remember when like Julio Jones had the craziest combine still that I ever reacted to. I remember was like Julio Jones, because I don't know what he ran. I don't remember what he ran, but he ran fast and he's huge. His like broad jump was huge. And I was like, but this guy's was such a specimen. Like he was so big. So seeing him do that was more impressive than just this little shifty guy confirming what you already knew.
Yeah. See, I mean, we knew he was really fast. But 4.21 is going to get everybody's attention, and we'll see how that goes with Worthy. I mean, Mitchell's good. The dude's he was from Georgia, moved to Texas, so there's a lot of standouts there. And of course, the offensive linemen, they all went nuts, man. I think Joe Alta, he had some freakish numbers too. Of course, Mims, who is just a freak, and he is just a damn monster. And then even the centers had some great workouts. I mean, Frazier had a good workout. Zach Frazier, just a lot of those guys, man. Some other dude from South Dakota State had a 38-inch vertical at 311 pounds. Good Lord. And then all the centers in his draft is stocked. And then
who's that running back from Louisville too? That guy was I didn't notice him. Garendo.
Yeah, he was a monster too. And the thing is with him is that he didn't really get any carries in college.
I didn't notice him at all. I don't even remember him from Louisville. Like I truly don't remember him. But I'm like, that's interesting. Later rounds. I mean, it might move him up, but that's like something you could take maybe round 4, perhaps, like around there, and you take a guy like that. That's what I'm talking about with this running back position.
Yeah, because the running backs, they had a good week too, man. Especially who's some other guys that stood out. I really like Garanda though. That dude really stood out. But his film is kind of scattered because he doesn't have that many carries. So, but that's the thing is, I mean, a guy like that, he doesn't have a lot of tread on him. And if you draft him, there's some upside there. He's like 220 pounds. And running that fast, it's crazy. And just his burst too, like his 10-yard split was like a 1.51. Yeah. And then somebody said Trey Benson.
Yeah.
Beast too. I mean, there's a lot of great. This is the craziest offensive draft in a minute. I'm gonna say that there's a lot of options. I mean, even like deep at wide receiver, there's a lot of guys that you can get that are that you could pick up deep in the wide receiver position too. But it's going to be a lot of defensive guys too. They're going to fall to the Raiders.
What do you think of? Speaking of wide receiver, I saw like that gauntlet drill. The one where they throw 4 passes as they're like basically crossing the field, and a lot of people were low on Keon Coleman, and a lot of people just merely a contested catch guy, getting the Laquan Treadwell vibes. But then those same people were high on Troy Franklin, the Oregon guy. But when you showed the gauntlet drill, Keon Coleman I saw Sam Monson post this for whatever it's worth. The straight line speed, or just that Keon Coleman does better in those drills. Like when you watch the film though, does that I know the film. This channel is called Tape Don't Lie, but like, when you watch that like gauntlet drill, can that fool you a little bit, or at least change your opinion on people if you otherwise had the different opinion?
I think with the gauntlet drill, I think it's more about you really see who has hands and who doesn't, because that's what it really exposes. Because if you're a natural hands catcher, you're gonna catch it, drop it, catch it, drop it, catch it, drop it. Or if you're a body catcher, it's gonna be like,
yeah, right.
it's not gonna look clean. So when you're Keon Coleman and you're running 20 miles per hour and you're catching all those balls, it just shows how natural his hands are. That's basically what more that is in speed. But he isn't a speedster. I mean, he's not a speedster on film. I mean, I know people are concerned about the 4.6, but and a lot of great receivers haven't been run a 4.6, but he has some upside though. He has pretty good film, especially, and then Jordan Travis is overthrowing him all the time anyway. So he definitely has some opportunities where he could have some better plays, but
yeah,
that goes, man. But yeah, man, yeah. Just from the workouts, I really feel like the offensive lineman really showed out the most. Just from the overall sense of everything that all showed out. Fashanu, he actually, he got hurt, but he still had a good combine up to that point. And then, Jackson Powers, he blew it out of the water. Even my dude Cooper Beebe, man, who is not getting talked about a lot from Kansas State, he ended up like a RAS of like 9.79 for a guard.
Is his dad Don Beebe?
I don't know, maybe.
It's gotta be. That last name's crazy. No, I old school Raider fans remember him from the Charger days back.
Yeah,
Don Beebe. Yeah, no, I don't know. Anyways, go on.
But yeah, and I really like him, and that's what I'm saying. That type of guy is like a third round option. You get him at guard, and I feel like that he's a starter. Like he's a starter for the foreseeable future. The type of film that he has, especially against Byron Murphy. So, they got to get some offensive linemen in this draft. That's a lot of these things, man. It's like, okay, we trade up for get a quarterback.
Right.
If you trade up, you better keep that second round pick. That's all I want.
Keep second round pick. Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, we need that. Whatever you do, keep that second round pick. We can mess around with it, whatever else you want to mess around with, but we need that second round pick because they got to get another blue chip offensive player. And I think you can get one in the second round with these offensive linemen. I don't know about these wide receivers and all that stuff, but I think you could find a guy that kind of falls through the weeds or whatever, especially if maybe some defensive guys end up going higher than we think. So, there's some defensive coaches out there. They'd be like, pounding the table for some of these guys. So,
yeah, no, I totally agree. I don't want to have people say I'll trade anything, but it's like, man, once you get that quarterback, you got to sit and wait. It's the worst to grab some protection for him. Yeah,
I know. Unless they go in free agency, they go wild. Which I mean, that's
they might. Thing. No, I actually expect them to with Pierce and kind of I think there's going to be like a big time recruiting thing that happens in free agency. I think the Raiders are going to be much more of a like recruiter, what we hoped they would be, where like real. Not just system, we the Patriot way, the Gruden way, Gruden grinders, Patriot way. Like they're going to be out there trying to find the best players and shooting their shot, like, yeah. So anyways, question.
So let's get some questions. Then we get to our next topic. So do you think JJ McCarthy is rising up draft boards because of how well he performed in his interviews? I don't know about how well he performed, but definitely because of his interviews and stuff like that. 100%. I think he's going to be rising up draft boards.
And he won. He won in college, by the way.
He's a winner.
We don't care in the NFL draft. A lot of times we don't care. Coaches care. If you
they care. He's a winner. Yeah, they like that. They like that. Why is Newton, the DT from Illinois, dropping in a lot of mock drafts? I think, to be honest, it's weird. Now, I used to say it was size. I think even Matt pointed that out. It was about size, right? Mm-hmm. But Byron Murphy was 6 foot. 297.
Wow. Really?
Right? Yeah. So he's not even 6'1". So he's a little shorter guy too. So, with Newton, I think it's more about him playing the run. I think he doesn't play the run very well. So, I mean, he's kind of a one-dimensional pass rusher. He kind of reminds me of Barmore, because Barmore didn't play the run that well either. But he was ready to go as a pass rusher. Now you see how he looks. He has 9 sacks last year, something like that. So, So Newton has a lot of upside, but I think he's getting a little bit of the Barmore treatment where he's like, hey, yeah, you have great film rushing the passer, but you don't play the run very well. You kind of get washed out a little bit just because your size a little bit. So I think that's a little bit of the reason why he's falling.
Oh man, if he falls to like round 2, though, that's he's a baller, man. He gets into the backfield, and that's a good school to come from. They churn out defensive players there at Illinois too.
Yeah. Would you take the center, I believe, from Oregon at 13? I don't know about 13.
It's a bit high. What are we passing on? Like at that point, like what are we passing on? Are we passing on a Fuaga? I would not. I would take Fuaga over JPJ at 13. Is the board just like receivers? Did mostly just receivers fall, and then it's Jackson Powers Johnson? Tackles went earlier than we thought. Quarterbacks, it's just been quarterbacks and tackles. Yeah, sure. I think he's a good player, so that's fine. He has some injury history though, some kind of injury history too. So, but I would feel happy about it if we weren't passing on a Christian Darrisaw like the Raiders did a few years ago. Right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. And to me, even if you pass on Powers, Frazier and the dude from Georgia, I never can forget his name, but the dude from Georgia, they're pretty damn good centers too. Like, don't sleep on them. They're pretty damn good centers. So they're options to second round even if you do that. Thoughts on Darnell Mooney since he's a speed wide receiver. That's interesting.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a guy that they could look at, and I think he's gonna
get I think he's gonna get a 1 year kind of like $8 million style contract. Now somebody might break the bank and go like I could see Carolina being so desperate that they signed Darnell Mooney for like 3 years, 30 something, or like some crazy thing. But for the most part, for the Raiders, you wait out. You don't prioritize him. That's just something that gives you flexibility on your roster a little bit and diversity in your receiving core. I wouldn't like overpay for him. But a 1 year or even like 2 years at like 8, 9 a piece for Darnell Mooney, I would think about it because you have Tucker and Mooney, and then you have the possession guys. The Adams later in his career, Myers and Mayer. Those guys. That's a really nice, diverse receiving core.
What round would be best for the Raiders? Probably like 3rd or 4th round. But
yeah,
I mean, I think all the speedy wide receivers might be gone by then, though. See, that's the thing. It's just the Raiders don't need a wide receiver, and I'd rather them take 2 linemen if they're gonna go offense like that.
Yeah, exactly. They always keep saying the Raiders need corner. I want to go the veteran route for corner. Even the same way, like Raiders do need another starting corner. I do agree with that, like outside corner, but they need to go the veteran route for that. And the draft just hit the trenches, man. It's a trenches draft.
Exactly. Thoughts on McCaffrey from Rice? McCaffrey. I mean, he was good at the Senior Bowl, and I thought he had a good week this week. I think he ran like a 4.47. Good time for him. And I remember I told Matt that he's gonna be good because he's Ed McCaffrey's son.
Might as well try. I would always respect the process. Like, hey, maybe get the other Rice. Get Brendan Rice too. It's Jerry Rice's son. Get him. Get McCaffrey from Rice and Rice on the team. Later round picks. I'm in.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk some Josh Jacobs. I do see a question about free agency. We're gonna get to free agency, guys. We get to it if I can get my thing up here. So just I might put it up here. Josh Jacobs, franchise tag. Probably not happening at this point. I guess it was 14 million. We talked about this 11 times. It was last time it was 11 million. It was 14 million, I guess. So that's 14. Not happening.
14.
Right. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Josh Jacobs. Now, the way Tom Telesco talked about it at the combine, it just didn't seem like, like he was going to get back. Like to me, I don't know. We could read into things, and maybe I'm reading into it too much. But just like talk about, I like the running back committee approach.
Oh yeah,
I like I like a committee approach. Like, what does that mean? Because I don't know how much Josh Jacobs is that way, but like if he can like share and kind of do the committee thing, he's never done it, right? So that's going to be a little bit interesting for him. But I thought there was some interesting comments from him about that. So what are your thoughts about that, Glenn? With Josh
Well, I
Jacobs?
know,
Real quick.
Brad Spielberger at PFF, take this for whatever it's worth. It's projected, I believe, 3 years, 34.5. That's just a lot for me. I don't know. It's the years. I'd be okay with like a year, $10 million this year if you want it, dude. Like, and then otherwise, hey, if you're gonna take the big contract somewhere else, it's okay. I'd like to have Jacobs on the team next year in some facet. I'd like for him not to be the unquestioned, 85% of the carries back. I'd like to split those up a bit. But I don't feel like that's really a possibility because you have to pay him. And then once you pay him, you'll have to justify handing him the ball that many times. And then the health becomes a question at that point, the mileage. It's just confusing. And to me, I just let somebody else go try it, the long-term deal. And if it slaps us in the face, it slaps us in the face, but we might still even be able to replace him. Like his production, not him, his production. That's what Raider fans don't understand. They think Zamir White and nobody else replaces Jacobs. No, the committee takes Josh Jacobs' production and splits it out over 3 backs.
Yes, and the birdie, the big one with Josh Jacobs is that the Chargers want him.
Whatever. I don't know.
The Chargers. Jim Harbaugh is creeping. He's a fan of JJ, and so that's an interesting fit because I don't know how much of a scheme fit he is for Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, but that is somebody that they're looking at. They're trying to figure out if they want to go after Jacobs or not, or they're going to pursue Jacobs. So that's the Raiders' competition with this. Probably it might be the Chargers, and if Jacobs is mad or something, he might sign with them because he's gonna be like, that's what a lot of people do. Is I'm gonna go play for the Chargers so I can play you guys twice or whatever, stuff like that. And I see people talking about him sharing carries in college, but Nick Saban's a little different, man. He's a little bit, he can sell that a little bit better.
I don't even think it's not even. I don't think he would have an issue with sharing the carries. I just think the minute that you pay him the big contract, you are going to give him more carries than he should have because you're justifying the big contract. You're paying him to be a bell cow. The team will struggle with that, is what I mean. That does go into play where it's like, well, why would I pay this much for a guy to split carries? Like that's the issue. And if he does go to the Chargers, look, that scares me. But Chargers medical history. I would never go to the Chargers in free agency if I wanted to be on the field at any point. So,
yeah, you got a point. Yeah, good. Yeah, I see people talk about the committee thing, but yeah, he did run a committee at Alabama, and I understand that. But he just hasn't done it in the NFL.
And you're a different person when you're in the NFL. I'm sorry, it's just a different. It's a different league. He's gotten gassed up. He is good, and he knows he's good. I don't think would be mad at splitting the carries as much as just the fact is the Raiders would be conflicted if they paid him. Then what are we going to do? Then it needs to be that traditional like 90s style running back of like Eddie George, just like run him into the ground. And I'm like, that makes me nervous doing that, committing that much to that position.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. But Telesco just didn't sound. He sounded very PFF, which we talked about that. But
he's in contact. Steve Palazzolo, I listened to their show. He slipped up a bit, or I think one of the guys aired it out and said Tom Telesco texts him daily about his draft model.
PFF Raiders are over here.
Yeah, yes. No, it's coming. Whatever PFF likes, just compare PFF's consensus board. Whoever, any of us, when this happened, when the Raiders draft, look at the PFF consensus big board. Or even the Steve Palazzolo mock drafts, because that's how he does it if he was GM. He's a big, like, if I was GM guy. Compare it to that. If it looks just like it, then we know. Then we know exactly. We don't even have to have these streams, Marcus. Then we just know.
The last team that followed the PFF draft board was the Cardinals. And I remember they took Annie Isabella that year. They took Byron Murphy really high.
Yeah.
Those are two huge PFF guys. It was Andy Isabella. PFF had him like ranked higher than everybody else.
I remember it.
And the Cardinals took him in the second round, and they took Byron Murphy like really high. Two huge PFF guys. I remember PFF gave him like a A+ grade that year. I mean, Byron Murphy was decent.
He's a good player. Good player. Yeah.
Good player, but like Andy Isabella, He's not in the league no more.
Stinks. Yeah. They only care about separation. They don't care about whenever you're covered. So yeah, that's I'm just saying I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Let's do the test. Let's do the comparison of Telesco's first draft versus what the PFF board looked like afterwards in May. That's a fun May exercise. We should do that on this stream.
For sure. All right. Before we get to free agents that we like, let's get some of these questions and then we'll talk about this last topic here. What offensive tackle do I think looked best today? Probably Mims, man. I think Mims just definitely showed that you could play 8 games, and if you look like that and move like that, nobody cares.
Yeah, and
That's really
Alt's not falling to the Raiders, but perhaps, right? Like I could see tackle's going to be a very flavor kind of based thing. The Titans at 7. That's the most confident I feel of a team taking a tackle. But I don't know which one. The Callahans are there. The Callahans could look at Olu Fashanu. I know he got hurt at the combine, but let's say he's healthy for the draft. And Fashanu, they could say, well, he's a Orlando Pace level pass protector we see on his film. But in the run game, he struggles. But we're the Callahans. Maybe they see that and decide at 7, I want that because he might have the highest upside out of anybody. Like he might have that. Yeah, he might have that like generational label to him. But there is glaring problems in the run game as of now. But like, let's just say Joe Alt falls to the Raiders at 13. He's 6'9", almost 330, right, or something like that. And I watched every snap he played. I saw him in person. I saw when they came to Stanford, when the boys came to Stanford. I watched, and he was like, it was just like a man. It looked like a JV. It looked like it looked like his high school highlights were happening on the field. And he was just mauling. I know Stanford wasn't good this year, but he did this against everybody. Like he just doesn't have bad games. He's just really good and really technically sound, and comes from a school that churns out really, really good offensive linemen into the league. So it's just you don't know who's going to be there at 13, and I think they're going to be passing whatever they do at 13. They better not pass on a really good tackle because I think this is like the tackle year.
Joe Alt is Colton Miller part 2 because I did a scouting report on Colton Miller like back in 2018 when he was coming out, and I feel like they're kind of the same. I think that they even have the same kind of issues when to beat them. But yeah, he's an athletic freak, and you can work with that. You can work with that type of stuff. Somebody asked you about would JJ have a Khalil Mack performance against the Raiders? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows if he's healthy over there? You made a great point there.
He might. He might. Yeah, he might. I won't rule it out.
What else? Would you this is good. Would you trade sign for Marshawn Lattimore?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
did they cut him today? They haven't cut him.
No, but it's the same. The Saints are always operating on that crazy over the cap thing. I know the cap went up, but you could see if they do trade him, like they almost have to start over on defense. But yeah, still.
Yeah, sure. I think it's about Jacobs. Do you think he lost motivation? No, I think he crossed the 340 threshold of carries, and the next year it is historically a fall off. It always happens. The only person who didn't, there was 2 guys who didn't do it, and it's Marshawn Lynch and Derrick Henry, and those both guys are probably potential Hall of Famers, right?
Yeah,
right. So. It's a thing. It happened to Jonathan Taylor. You guys remember Jonathan Taylor had that crazy year and he had like 1,800 yards. He had over 340 touches. And the next year he was hurt and he barely got like 800 yards. So it's more about the carries and the touches that he had that kind of made it the way it was. So.
Yeah, no, it's just I don't keep rewarding that. I mean, sadly it's a mileage issue. Like I think Jacobs is a great player, but it's a mileage issue. You just don't keep paying for that.
No, you don't. All right, let's talk about free agency here, man. That's what's coming up really quickly here. There's just some people out there that are going to be available. There's actually a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of guards are available, a lot of centers.
Yeah.
That are going to be out there. So what are some of your targets? I know people want, Little Williams, there's Christian Wilkins for defensive tackle, but I think Little Williams would be a little cheaper than Christian Wilkins and kind of make the same impact a little bit. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely look in free agency. Your philosophy should always be let's try to fill glaring roster holes to where it gives us freedom in the draft to not have to reach for need. And I do think they should attack the trenches. We're talking about attacking this and that in free agency, but I think I would attack guard in free agency. Kevin Dotson's the big name. Go after him, see what happens. He for anyone who doesn't know him, you guys did a breakdown of him. He was a Steeler for a long time, but had a really, really nice year for the Rams. And I think he's going to get pretty good money, but that's somebody they should definitely target. And Lloyd Cushenberry, your guy. Definitely go after all those guys. I like the Darnell Mooney suggestion too. I thought that was really interesting, and I would explore a trade for a veteran corner, perhaps somebody with a little bit of a contract they don't want to hold on to for a while. I would explore a trade for a veteran corner. I think the secondary needs a little seasoned veteran there. Remember that year the Raiders added Casey Hayward, and it was kind of late in the offseason they added him, and the impact that he made on that defense was really cool. And I'd like to see somebody do that with this young secondary, who I think is pretty good. But a veteran come in there with that nasty Antonio Pierce attitude. That would be really nice. I don't know who right now. I would try the Lattimore thing. I would try, I would even take another flyer on like a James Bradbury. I know he got cooked in Philly last year, but he is a good player. Maybe a redemption contract there. I don't like to spend crazy, but if there was one kind of like Moby Dick White whale kind of free agent, I would say it would be like a Christian Wilkins, provided that Chris Jones isn't actually available, and or a L'Jarius Sneed.
Yeah. Sneed too for cornerback. Yeah, because I saw Michael Davis. Somebody talked about that. Michael Davis had a good 2022, but he kind of fell off in 2023. But he is a scheme fit though, so he's a scheme fit. Jalen Johnson, of course, I don't know if he hits the market though, but I think for defense tackle, you got to go Leonard Williams or Wilkins. I just think Williams is just the scheme fit for me, and he had his best years of his career under Patrick Graham. I think there's going to be that connection with him, and I think he's probably going to be the guy.
What about Adoree Jackson too? What do you think of Adoree Jackson at corner? Doesn't he have a Patrick Graham connection in New York a little bit, perhaps, or were they in New York at the same time? Yeah, and I like him on a 1 year prove it. He had a down year last year. I like him, but he's a playmaker, and I think that he would fit pretty well in the Raiders secondary. Would be another. I like deals. You know what I mean? I like deals in free agency. Like I remember being excited when the Raiders signed Nelson Aguilar that 1 year for that 1 year deal, and everyone was like, "Oh, he's not even gonna make the team." He's all the videos of him dropping babies and stuff. They feel like I was like, "No, this guy's a good ball player," and I think that's a good. I like those. I like those redemption former first round pick deals. And then I like spending on young players in the trenches. You know what I mean? To really help battle.
Yeah. So there's a lot of guys available. I pulled up this Jeremy Fowler article just so I could have a reference here. So especially at guard, you got Jonah Jackson,
Damian Lewis too.
Damian Lewis, Robert Hunt, Mike Onwenu, and Kevin Dotson. But they're expected to get $16 million
at guard.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're expected to get $16 million at guard.
Huh.
So,
like American dollars?
Yes. $16 million American dollars.
Woo. Inflation.
Yeah. So, because Elite Med here talking about Jonah Jackson. He probably is the guy to get, right? And I know he played left guard. I mean, do you move he would definitely move Parham where he should be as right guard. I would definitely like that, actually. Now that I think about it, I was going to say, but where do you move Parham? I was like, well, you know what? You move him right to where he should be. So, that would work out. There's Graham Glass gal too.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay,
there's a lot there. Any of those names. I like Damian Lewis too. I like him a lot out of Seattle. I think he's good for what the Raiders want to do. No, definitely.
Lloyd Cushenberry is supposed to get $10 million, so that's not
fine.
bad.
That's
fine, right? Yeah. He's supposed to get $10 million. That's supposed to be his mark, which I think that's definitely a connection there.
Next Rodney Hudson in there, man.
Yeah, we just sneak him, man. Just sneak in that new center, bro, and just keep him there for years.
Mm-hmm.
And then who else? A couple other positions. Let's talk about linebacker is one. I don't know if they're gonna do anything. This is gonna be the weird aspect. We're gonna find out if they like Devon Diablo or not this offseason too. I think that's gonna be a big thing for because they like Spillane. We know they like Spillane, right? We know that we can right, and they're probably gonna work something out with Spillane there. But do they like Diablo? Because I really like Blake Cashman a lot.
Yep.
And I think that's somebody because he's fast, he can cover, and he plays the run well. He's a good all around linebacker. I'm not gonna say he's great, but he's a good all around linebacker. He's an upgrade from Divine Diablo. So I mean, that's somebody I talked about on the radio a couple last week because he's just a guy that I know from his athletic profile and how he's performed in the NFL. The Texans are trying to bring him back, but that's the guy that the Raiders could go get that could really uplift the linebacker core. And I think him and Spillane would be a great tandem, and it would happen, right? Because he just plays the run better than both of them. So since he plays the run pretty well, I think that's a guy that they could bring in and help out a lot and kind of take the defense to a next level. So,
yeah,
but
yeah, there's a couple guys. For a cheap one, Jordan Hicks. I know he had a bad injury last year, but it looks like he did return later in the year. I like him on a cheap deal. I also love I think Tampa's kind of gonna hit the rebuild button pretty hard, harder than we think. Mike Evans. If they can't sign Mike Evans, I think it's gonna get really. It's going to get really interesting because at that point, okay, are you going to sign Baker Mayfield then if you don't have Mike Evans? Are you going to keep Vita Vea? That's another guy in a trade I'd look at. And then, but Levante David, I like in this linebacker core, I would like to add a Levante David on a 1-year deal. He's still really good. And if he's just a guy Tampa's like, look, dude, like, do you want to retire now? That's fine. If not, if you want to still play, if he still wants to play, I would give him. I'm a little the Patrick Queen thing. A lot of fans want Patrick Queen. I think he's gonna get more money than he should, and I don't like that. Bobby Wagner's also the same thing, like same kind of thing as Levante David. If he's actually hits the market, I think he's a nice fit for this linebacker core. And yeah, I'm with you on Cashman though.
Yeah, Jordan Brooks too. Isn't Jordan Brooks from
Jordan Brooks is a free agent. There's some good ones out there. I don't think they need to draft very many of them this year at all. Like really, I think if you added a free agent one and then maybe like a UDFA later that you just love, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. I mean, because that somebody asked, is Devin White still trash? I mean, kind of. Yeah, he still is.
He's
but
not good.
Yeah, I was going to talk about Azeez Al-Shahir too. The linebacker group in free agency is pretty damn good.
Damn good.
And that's what we're going to find out how much they like Divine Diablo, because that's the easiest upgrade is kind of replace him, because Diablo has had some decent moments. It's just you could upgrade at that position, right? But I mean, you could even upgrade Robert Spillane, to be honest.
You could, but I think they really like him. He's going to at least get one more year as like kind of the green dot kind of leader of the defense. But yeah, if he regresses and has a kind of falls back to earth, yeah, that could happen. But with Diablo, when we say upgrade from Diablo, he could still be on the roster.
Yeah,
which is fine. Like, what if Diablo is like your backup linebacker? I think you're in great shape at that point. And yeah, if they bring in like a scheme fit outside linebacker, like I said, I like Levante David for that reason. You know what I mean? Or even Wagner. Like, I like a veteran, just kind of like a veteran guy who's won before, and those guys really do well. And if they get injured, they get injured. It's a gamble, and if they retire halfway through the year because they just don't like football anymore, it is a thing. But you do, those are guys I go after. I think this defense is young and needs just a bit more veteran leadership.
Yeah, but yeah, they can upgrade linebacker, and linebackers are cheap. They're inexpensive,
right?
But especially
you can wait too. You can wait, but you don't have to do it right away.
Yeah, you don't have to do too much with that. So let's get some of these other last questions we got. Do we think we are good at safety? You could always add depth to safety. They probably should add some players, but I don't think they're going to go big. Moreg is a good safety. I think Epps. I mean, those guys. We just didn't yell at them. We didn't hear about their names. We didn't say they suck.
Solid as well.
Yeah, we didn't notice him at all last year. Even though Morik made a lot more plays, but I think he's definitely an ascending player, especially in that system. He's been in a couple of years. It'll be a third year in it. I think he's gonna have another big year.
Polomau's a fun developmental guy. I thought he really flashed last year, and definitely has a spot on the team this year. But yeah, no, if you see a guy, I wouldn't prioritize it. Or if there's a guy like a Marcus May sitting in free agency and just waiting on a 1-year deal, and we'll to then test it again next year. I think about it. I think about it. I wouldn't prioritize it though.
Yeah. All right.
Did we say Jeremy Chin though? I'm still in on Jeremy Chin because you
could. He's available, huh? Yeah, because he's a linebacker.
Because you could get Patrick Graham puts that Ivy League brain to use when he sees guys like that. Like I could put him anywhere, like he did with Jabril Peppers, kind of like Jeremy Chin changes a lot. Jeremy Chin changes everything. I forgot about him.
Let Patrick Graham get his hands on him, bro. It's gonna be crazy.
It might happen too. The Carolina really has no reason to pay him.
See, this is a good question. Did Luke Masterson look better than Diablo? Yes, he did. I
like Luke Masterson.
I think he's a good damn linebacker.
He's very another guy. Thanks for bringing him up. Yeah, I'm glad that person brought him up because he's another guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally forgot about him because literally every time he gets on the field, he makes a play. That's what I like about Luke Masterson. He's always around the ball. He makes plays. He caused like 2 fumbles last year, and he didn't play that many snaps. Right? I mean, he is always around the football, physical. I think he's a good NFL linebacker.
Yeah, I agree.
So if they but there's so many good linebackers out there that could be an option for them. But if they really like Luke, I mean, yeah, there should be a battle between him and Diablo to start.
And your coach is an outside linebacker, by the way. So he might fall in love with one of those guys.
Yeah, man. So it's going to be. I really do like Luke Masterson a little bit. What happened to Darius Leonard? He just can't play football anymore. I don't know what's wrong with him.
Weird, but I'm intrigued though. Like I am intrigued if he's just sitting around. Like, yeah, you can come to camp. What's up? Nah, you can't. You
see what you got.
You fall off that fast. I feel like that was a personal life thing that maybe got sorted out. Like I don't know. Because he went from elite to terrible in a year.
It was quickly.
Weird. It's weird. Really that tells me something. I bet on that one more time. Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a good question. What Raiders free agent should be brought back?
I like Jermaine Illuminor.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind that. Also, no, yeah, I think it's just Jermaine Illuminor for now.
Yeah, I think it is Illuminor. Trying to think, maybe even Meek Robinson if they feel like that they need some depth at corner, right? Bringing him back. I'm trying to think of some other guys that are free agents right now. To be honest, everybody else, they're Patriots way guys.
Yeah. There's a lot that can go. They bring up those here's what the Raiders are losing, and I'm not only sad about a couple, but Amik. Do you think another team's really going to pay Amik Robertson? I don't think so. I think the Raiders can bring him back.
Yeah, the Raiders can bring him back. Same with Adam Butler. I know a lot of people. I mean, Adam Butler should bring back for depth.
Sure,
defensive tackle. I do like that.
He's rotation. Not gonna. I don't think he's gonna get big money on the market on the open.
Oh no, he won't. I mean, he had a decent year though.
He did.
I'm not gonna say good. He had a decent year.
It was serviceable.
So yes, he's a piece. You could have him on a piece and help the pass rush. I just don't want him, playing. To be honest, at this point, playing too many snaps. I think you can upgrade over him at defensive tackle in the draft or something like that. So,
what was that DJ Chark question I saw in there? That was
DJ Chark, or was that? Did I miss it?
Yeah, I think it was right after the one that you put last.
There we go. Thoughts on DJ Chark, tall, deep threat to complement.
Love it.
I do like that.
I love that a lot. I didn't even think about that. DJ Chark is, exactly what you're getting out of DJ Chark. He is carved out of. I believe he was a 7th round draft pick out of LSU, and he was a pretty good player. He went late. I know that. And he's just done the same thing every year. And whenever you get him, and you might get 1 year where he just goes ballistic. And I like that a lot. I think he's going to be in that just 1 year, $7 million range or something like that. And you'll know exactly. You're not going to be asking him to do anything he doesn't normally do. Yeah.
Yeah, for real. I feel like I missed some questions here. Go up. What is your best plan? Best guest plan is for center. Is somewhere new or Parham? I kind of saw the same question. Thoughts on Parham as center, Luminary guard. Me personally, I want to see a real center.
Yeah,
And I know Dylan Parham can play center, and I know he might be a good fit there. And then when he played, he didn't play really bad. The offensive line worked together. But I kind of want a real center. If they can't get a real center, then, and I hate saying that, but there's centers. Okay. So if you can get you a true center that is he's been doing it for years, is this type of thing that he's been doing, and he's, kind of had that upgrade. I'd rather go that route than moving Parham there, and not really, when it's not really that much of a necessity for him to move there, if I could upgrade at that position. So that's the thing. But if they feel like, they can fill in the other positions and they want to move him there, that's fine with me. I don't know about moving Illuminator to guard. I think when Illuminator played guard, he didn't play well. I think you got to move to keep him at right tackle. And with Mumford, I still think you got to bring in Mumford, somebody to kind of battle with him a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I kind of want to see them get a real center, but if they can't, I'm cool with them moving him over to center.
Right. Yeah, no, they should. I think a new offensive coordinator is going to want a new center. I think that does happen. I can't imagine Luke Getsy got here. Maybe he watched Parham center film and said, "Hey, there's my guy." But for the most part, a lot of times a new offensive coordinator, I feel like they want their quarterback and their center, and then everything else after that. You see what's available to you. How can I make this work? Who can I bring in that I've worked with before? But I think offensive coordinators like to hitch their wagon to that quarterback center combination, and I expect Getsy to do that.
Yeah. Some other questions.
I did say DJ Chark. I said seventh. He was a second round pick. Somebody corrected me in the chat. I don't want that on record that I said seventh round pick for DJ.
Yeah, for sure. Can we realistically make the playoffs with the right free agent signings and the quarterback? I think. I mean, they went 8-9 last year.
Absolutely.
Right?
This league is so volatile. It's why we love it in the NFL. Like, it's actually kind of weird that the Raiders aren't good, like for this long. Like it's we hate to admit it as fans, but like they should be making the playoffs more than they do. And it's really because they just don't draft well at all. I mean, we have first round picks that are in jail, like two in the same year. Two in the same year. I'm not trying to highlight that. Then we have Alex Leatherwood, Cleveland Ferrell, Jonathan Abram. Like, if any of those guys, if they draft just average players that are underperforming with those picks, this is a playoff team now.
I know.
Tom Telesco needs to come in and restore order. They don't have to be these sexy picks. Like, they have to just be not flameouts, not just these tire fires that you see in Oakland. Like just these crazy tire fires. You don't need to go crazy. They just need to like kind of not be a joke in the drafting.
Just it's because even Ziegler, even though I liked of his drafts, he was terrible in free agency. They're terrible.
Give him Myers, Spillane. I mean, that's some good signing.
No, man, I just the whole Jimmy thing and just
some of the other guys. But I feel like that was McDaniel. I feel like Jimmy was all Josh McDaniels. That just that reeked of Josh McDaniels to me, of him saying, "This is you need to get him, Dave. I got you this job, Dave." Like that kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know.
JC asked, "Would you take JC Jackson?" I say no, because he's not a scheme fit. He's just not. He's a man guy. You got to play man to man with him. And to be honest, I never thought he was that good. I never did. I never thought.
No. I remember Raider fans were mad and they got outbid by the Chargers from. I was like, no.
Yeah. Man. What free agent do you think the Raiders target on March 13th? I think Little Williams is probably the main target right away, because I think this could be probably the first guy that they bring in. I do. I just kind of have a feeling, and I know we haven't talked about quarterbacks a lot with free agency, but that is an option too. I mean, Russ is out there, and
I hope not. I'll be a sad if Russ is the starting quarterback for this team. I'll be pretty sad.
Oh man, yeah. So Man, there this
I would
possibility
rather have
that.
Aiden O'Connell but clip this. I would rather have Aiden O'Connell than Russell Wilson as my starting quarterback.
Okay. All right. Tyrod Taylor's. I mean, this is too much backups. Somebody asked about Tyrod Taylor. I don't know. I feel like there's too many quarterbacks in the room.
Yeah.
At that point, because essentially they're going to draft one. Because they're going to draft somebody. I don't know where they're going to draft quarterback. They're doing it though. Because when you're meeting with Spencer Rattler and having a formal meeting with Spencer Rattler, that means you're doing some in-depth things. And I forgot that AP is familiar with Spencer Rattler, so I guess he could, kind of maybe work with him a little bit. But
What's the familiarity?
Arizona from recruiting, try to recruit him.
Okay.
Recruiting and all that stuff. So yeah. I almost asked him, so why didn't you go to ASU then? The fan in me almost came out. But
well, I was gonna say it's the easy answer. It's Oklahoma. And I'm short.
It almost came out, but I held back, guys. I did hold back. But I almost didn't ask him. So why didn't you go to ASU then if you liked him? So because what was your problem? Could have helped us
or transfer there after
a transfer. You to South Carolina.
Yeah, I know. It also wasn't good. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. What else we got? Do we got any other questions here? I think we're good. We're good here, man. Yeah, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. We got 250 today, man. We got
fun times. Yeah, fun times.
Somebody did complain about you, Glenn.
I'm not gonna be BD. Like, if you see my face, it's fine. You see my face, you don't like me, it's okay. Like he's correct in saying I don't have as much to offer as BD. I don't, and nobody does. Like, that's why people don't do that. And like that's what I mean. Like, hey, look, you know what? The rest of you guys, respect. This is fun. I just like a piggy bank all week. Raiders takes. I get ready for Tape Don't Lie and just dump them out here. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. That's just funny.
I know. Hey, look, you can't please everybody. They can't all be winners. Yeah,
hey,
like the respect.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right. Yeah, man. So thank you guys for coming. I see some late questions here. Hopefully, you guys can check out the whole show, and get some other questions in there and see what we asked. What we answered. Kind of went over all the combine. Definitely a pretty good show. I think we'll be back next Friday doing something.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're gonna do. We'll figure something out.
Something. Yeah. Well, somebody asked for a mock draft. We should just do a mock draft like all the time. Like, that's all people want.
Why not?
That's all people want is for you to go on the mock draft and pick between like 4 choices, and then that's just you share the screen and it's a mock draft. People love that, and I love it. So we should just keep doing that.
Yeah. Just mock drafts. We can switch to do mock free agency.
Look at all these. You see all my sock puppet accounts commenting right now.
Get your bots in there.
Those are my burners, my Kevin Durant burners right now commenting. I appreciate you guys. I didn't mind. Look, I got a lot more than one hater. I'll tell you that much.
I know.
Yeah, I got a lot more. It's a lot more than that. But yeah, you guys are great. This is so much fun.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Yeah, we'll do some mocks. We'll do another mock. We can do a post combine mock because I feel a lot more comfortable with making some of those picks. And I'm gonna deep dive into these running backs. I have these feelings, man. There's something tells me
some ball players. There's some
ball players. They're gonna go crazy on offense, and they're gonna go defense in free agency, go crazy on offense in the draft. That's how I kind of feel it is. So, all right, guys, we're out of here.
Yep.
Peace. So subscribe, subscribe.